Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today I wanted to look at some Star Citizen dev responses on various questions that have popped up recently, as well as talk about CitizenCon's planned dogfighting esports type event, and ask if CIG are trying to push towards making Star Citizen have some form of esports presence with the latest Arena Commander updates coming to Alpha 3.20. Cloud Imperium have announced a competitive dogfighting tournament coming to the 2023 CitizenCon, which is on the 21st of October and goes on until the 22nd of October. First two-day event we've had for CitizenCon. And Cloud Imperium said, "We're pleased to announce that we're teaming up with Atmo Esports, which is a community and player-run event team, to bring Fight or Flight to CitizenCon 2953. This high-octane competition will have an epic presence on the show floor, complete with ways to spectate and enjoy live commentary. Fight or Flight is the biggest 2v2 dogfighting tournament in the verse, with this year's online event kicking off on August 19th. Participants are set up with predetermined loadouts and will duke it out in the atmospheres of ArcCorp and Microtech. Each match is the best of 3, with the winner of 2 rounds moving on to the next stage. The top 4 teams in the online tournament will be eligible to participate in the Fight or Flight CitizenCon Invitational. These 8 players will be paired up with 8-star Citizen content creators to duke it out for the ultimate bragging rights and an awesome trophy. For those looking to test their mettle, entries for the online tournament can be found on the Fight or Flight website, with sign-ups closing this Friday, July 21st. I just found this really interesting. So we've talked previously, many years ago now, about Arena Commander being an appropriate esports platform, kind of, once it's in a good state. And we're still waiting for that state to be good, because yes, Alpha 3.20 has a big Arena Commander update, and they're looking to refine Arena Commander and that sort of gameplay further beyond that as well. And yeah, it's going to be significantly better for esports and competitive play. A lot of esports in games starts naturally, and the competitive scene for Star Citizen sort of started naturally, but it's been relatively dead due to Arena Commander not really getting love until now. It sort of was a game mode that didn't see much attention, really, and the balance for Star Citizen ships and combat and the mechanics of the game, the core mechanics, are still very much in flux and unfinished. I suspect that Star Citizen at the moment doesn't lend itself to competitive play because there probably is a hard meta with ships and weapons and equipment and all that sort of jazz. A 2v2 does sound fun to sort of watch. Interestingly, as well, I do think that the skill, significantly so, of the players that are trying to get into the Invitational are going to be significantly higher than the content creators they're paired with. Maybe not in every case, but I would say almost certainly in most, just because there's going to be a pool of more dedicated, more focused, people that are great at dogfighting that aren't necessarily content creators compared to the significantly smaller pool of content creators. A 2v2 is interesting to watch as well, because it is going to be how well you work with your wingman to distract and do some damage to a target. Also, if I was sort of going or something and someone got paired with me, that is an instant loss for you. I don't care how good you are, my skill level will bring you down. But I do think that Arena Commander could be a really good platform for esports and really good for the mainstream as well. Arena Commander has the potential to get really polished and show off Star Citizen to a larger audience in a much more accessible way. And due to the prettiness of Star Citizen and what they're trying to do with Arena Commander now, it could become quite an interesting spectator sport. I suspect the CitizenCon sort of physical tournament will be on a LAN and with servers there, so I'd expect them not to have to worry about desync or all of the problems that could potentially happen, because the online side of the tournament, there could be desync and problems like that. I definitely think it's a great idea for them to run a little tournament at CitizenCon and to obviously have some interesting stuff to watch there, because yeah, it does sound like it's more fun than competitive. It's an interesting one as well, because obviously the sort of preliminaries and the sort of early stages of that dogfighting tournament are taking place in 3.19.1 or 3.19 branch, and then at CitizenCon assumedly we'll have 3.20, so it is moving over to a different, potentially meta. It could be very, very, very different to play in 3.20 than it is in 3.19. Is it going to be fun to watch? Is Star Citizen going to be in a state where people get excited about watching and the spectator cameras are good enough to watch the action and make it look good. That is another part of what makes esports fun. And I suppose the other one is, are the casters going to be good? Are they going to be able to keep the energy going throughout the broadcast? I'm interested to know what you think. Obviously, this isn't super competitive, this tournament, because the way they're sort of just pairing you off randomly with a content creator, but I do think they are starting to get into a state where, well, actually, they're going to be looking at Arena Commander and going, let's try to support esports type tournaments for it. And I do think trying to foster and grow lots of player tournaments is the way to go with that, and then sort of some will do really, really well and get really popular, and yeah, those will be the esports of the future. It'll be interesting to see if Cloud Imperium try and run their own esports stuff and try and control it. We'll sort of have to wait and see. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comments below. There were some questions and dev responses on Spectrum, which I'd like to go over. Let's start with the first one. Any plans to adjust and balance the maneuverability of ships in the future? The OP here says, right now, for certain ships, they are either more nimble or they steer heavier than they should. For example, the Scorpius is faster and more maneuverable than the Hurricane, while the Redeemer is smaller, faster, and lighter in weight versus the Hammerhead. Its maneuverability is less responsive than the Hammerhead's. The Hammerhead stops rotating faster than the Redeemer does. The Redeemer's maneuverability is like the Anvil Carrack. Do you have any plans to adjust and balance the maneuverability of all ships in the future, especially when you change the flight model to implement master modes? So, CIG responded, all ships will be retuned with master modes, and quite a lot will get a rework anyways. However, expect ships and their handling characteristics to be quite diverse. Some ships, due to their sheer size, will keep oversteering. Pro tip, using boost will actually increase the rotational accelerations of most ships, so you can use that to arrest the angular motion faster. We do know that it might take a while for them to get all of the ships updated for master modes. They're working on 3.20 at the moment with the Gladius in testing with master modes with EVOCATI. We don't know how long that's going to take, and then they have to do it for all the ships, so sort of be aware it's going to be a while. There was another post, I missed the old Cutlass model, which basically just said, I like the old Cutlass model. Is it going to sort of appear in game in the future in any way, shape or form, or are we just going to have the new one? A dev said, would be nice if we could get the old Cutlass statue back as hanger flare once persistent hangers are up and running. I'm actually expecting, personally, that to be the case with various models and things. Probably a scale model of Port Olisar 2, things like that is what I would expect. Another question, actually I covered this the other day, but I do want to reiterate it here. Will master modes improve server performance? A CIG dev did respond, no, hit results might get a bit better when combat speeds come down purely because distance offsets will be smaller, but that has nothing to do with server performance itself. We do know that Cloud Imperium are trying to improve server performance, networking stuff, general performance and optimization is also being done to Arena Commander and all that sort of jazz. Desync is an issue in the persistent universe especially, so they are looking at that, but it's significantly better in Arena Commander, at least for 3.20 it's supposed to be. A couple of other bits. There's a new version of the RSI launcher for Star Citizen that fixed some bits for Linux and installation issues. I saw another post actually. Do you want a cinematic experience? Then do this simple thing. So basically the original poster here says, put your gamma down to 0 and your brightness and contrast up to 75, which potentially gives you some sort of like artificial digital vibrance. A lot of players are saying that they have issues with gamma in Star Citizen causing hazing and washing out of the picture. However, I personally recommend lowering gamma a little bit and then raising contrast a tad, but that's sort of it. Brightness for me, messing around with that and raising it washes the image out for me, but it is all down to personal taste. Hopefully once we have Vulkan integration and then what I would deem sort of traditional graphics options that should come with that or after it, that will allow us to get Star Citizen looking the way we want it to look at scale as well. So obviously if you've got an amazing super PC that you can sort of up all the settings loads and put a load of artificial sort of scaling in. I hope we get Vulkan in Alpha 3.20. It is possible. It's not listed on the roadmap for then, but it looks like they're very close. That said, I've thought it looked close for the last like 3 quarters. But yeah, boom! That's it for your updates today. I am really interested to know what you think about that competitive dogfighting tournament at CitizenCon. Do you think that's a great idea? Are you going to watch that? Are you really interested in it? Or is it a bit meh? You don't really care? Do you think that Star Citizen could be in a significantly better place for competitive and esports kind of gameplay with Alpha 3.20 and Arena Commander being a bit of a focus for that patch, and then they're obviously going to maintain it and keep it polished? That looks to be the plan. Do you think that actually Arena Commander could be a fantastic platform for this, because it is going to be easy for them to keep it in a good state? Do you think that Fight or Flight tournament should be called Fight and Flight? That's a better name, right? Are you excited to try out Master Modes in Alpha 3.20? We do know that they are pushing towards a Wave 1 PTU in the near future, is what Cloud Imperium have said. Obviously, that's relatively early, kind of time for Cloud Imperium to start talking about Wave 1 PTU, because it looks like that the release will be end of September for Alpha 3.20 Live, but there might be lots of testing to do. And we don't really know what near future means. That could mean a couple of months, admittedly. What do you think? When do you think we're going to see that? Do you think we're going to see some performance improvements in Alpha 3.20 as well? And do you have any other questions? Or have you got any tips for making Star Citizen genuinely look better? What do you do with your gamma, your brightness and contrast and other settings? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. The Tobii Eye Tracker 5 is on sale with 15% off until the 28th of July. They are natively supported in Star Citizen, giving you precision, head and eye tracking that can help with immersion, as well as adding another level of control to your toolset. It's a cool piece of tech that you can use for streaming and seeing where your eyes are going, and loads of other games are supported too. Check out my links below to get one of those at discount. There are so many space games. Star Citizen is obviously king. Fight me. But how do you keep yourself secure and private while in space, away from the prying eyes of Big Pirate and Big Space? NordVPN.com/BoredGamer. That gives you potentially the best protection in cyberspace. Oh, see what I did there? Stay safer online with a secure private internet connection that also helps you get access to the content you want. Let me give you some testimonials that I'll just make up now. I just turned off NordVPN and got ganked by a load of pirates. I turned off NordVPN and my legs fell off. There you have it. Get NordVPN, because if you're not going to believe those testimonials that I just made up, what are you going to believe? You can grab it from the links below. It's good and it's super cheap and I use it. There you go. Boom. Something else that's good is our ship giveaway. Salvage is the newest big gameplay loop at the moment in-game, and we want to help you get involved with that, so we're giving away a Drake Vulture light salvage ship with lifetime insurance. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during July. More details in the description below. Thank you so much to everyone that goes the extra mile in supporting the channel with the join button under our videos, or becoming a Patreon, or donating, or even just subscribing and liking and commenting on our videos and sharing them. You'll get an occasional exclusive video. There's polls and posts to get involved with. Please consider joining them, because it really, really helps us out. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any feedback, please chuck it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.